Hi guys, so how about I tell you that today we are going to talk about a Canadian PR program that only needs CLB level 4, high school education, no CRS requirements, and only needs 6 months of experience. Interesting, right? Hi everyone, my name is Shivani and I'm a licensed immigration consultant based in Ontario, Canada, and I'm also the founder of Zeste Immigration Services Incorporation. Today in this video, we'll be talking about Saskatchewan's hard-to-fill skills pilot. Before we begin talking about this program, I would like to say that it is an announcement by Saskatchewan immigration authorities that the hard-to-fill skills pilot will enable Saskatchewan employers to recruit workers through overseas missions or international recruitment activities into select jobs that have significant recruitment challenges. The eligible jobs under the Saskatchewan hard-to-fill skills pilot will allow for application of low and entry-level positions and may require on-the-job training but are critical for businesses to continue to operate and grow. So guys, this is for everyone who has related experience or who are in the same field. Okay, so even if you're international, you're currently in Canada, this is for everyone. If you meet all the requirements, then this is for you. Now, again, meeting the requirement also means finding a job offer and becoming eligible with every single eligibility requirement of the program. So let's get started. A quick thing here to notice that same as many pilot programs that we have currently available in Canada, this pilot is also essentially a permanent residence program. However, once you get the nomination, it also allows you to initially apply for the work permit so that you can come to Canada and start working for the employer on that work permit. But again, essentially, this is a permanent residence program. So as mentioned before, today we are going to talk about SINP, means Saskatchewan International Skilled Worker Hard-to-Fill Skills Pilot. In this, you need at least CLB level 4, you need high school education, low-tier jobs are available and they're eligible. There's no requirement of CRS because this is not an express entry aligned program. But guys, please note that you do need a job offer and minimum at least 6 months of experience is also required. There is a little bit twist in the experience and there are 2 options over there which we will explore eventually. So let's get started with the video. So in this video, we will discuss the pilot program details, eligibility requirements, how to easily find jobs in Saskatchewan, employer requirements and details, settlement plan, how to apply, and required documents and forms. So stay tuned till the end of the video and do not skip. And please, yes, do not forget to share this video to everyone who wants to immigrate to Canada. Now, this subcategory is for intermediate and low-skilled workers in eligible high-demand occupations who have an offer for a job in Saskatchewan, meet the criteria of the subcategory, and intend to reside in Saskatchewan as a permanent resident. So let's go over the eligibility requirements. The first is regarding the work experience. So have at least 6 months of full-time work experience in the job with the employer that has provided you the job approval letter, or have at least 1 year of full-time work experience in the past 3 years in your intended occupation or acceptable related occupation. So do try to understand this properly. You're only required to meet one of these 2 requirements in terms of work experience, okay? Further in this video, we will also explore the selected and acceptable related occupations, so stay tuned. Okay, so about the work experience, you're required to have just one, okay? You either have at least 6 months of full-time work experience in the job with the employer that has provided you the job approval letter, or you have at least 1 year of full-time work experience in the past 3 years, okay? In the past 3 years in your intended occupation or acceptable related occupation. Again, we are going to explore these all occupations further in the video, so please stay tuned. Now, the best thing here is that the work experience does not need to be consecutive work experience in either case. Moving on to the language requirements. Have a language score of at least CLB level 4, which is the minimum requirement, like I said before. But please note that some employers or regulators may ask for scores that are higher than CLB level 4. Perhaps this would depend on your occupation type. Moving on to the education requirements. So like I said before, the candidate should have completed at least secondary school or high school, or the candidate can have even higher level than secondary or high school, but the minimum is the secondary or high school. An ECA, means Educational Credential Assessment, is not a required document for this program. However, attainment of an ECA is encouraged as it can help to verify whether an international worker has the education required for the intended occupation in Canada. The next requirement is job offers. So have an SINP approved offer of permanent full-time job in Saskatchewan. You will need a valid SINP job approval letter from your employer to show the proof. Okay, the offer must be in one of the following occupations. Now here is the list of this pilot eligible NOC titles or occupations and also acceptable related work experience. Now guys, do not get confused between these two. The eligible job occupations, the NOC titles on the screen right now on the left side, and on the right side, it's acceptable related work experience. If you remember, we did talk about this in the work experience requirement. And again, if you remember, there were two different requirements. The very first one was have at least 6 months of full-time work experience in the job with the employer that has provided you with the job approval letter, or have at least 1 year of full-time work experience in the past 3 years in your intended occupation or acceptable related occupations. Okay, so this is the one that's accepted related occupation, the one that you are able to see on the right side. Okay, now you guys must understand the concept of HFS, means the hard to fill skills pilot occupations and accepted related work experience. So to reduce barriers to recruitment, the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Programs, means SINP, will accept related work experience for applications under the hard to fill skills pilot in select occupations. This will change support employers in finding candidates to address urgent labor shortages in semi-skilled and low-skilled occupations where on-the-job training is typical. Beginning immediately, work experience in certain NOCs will be considered related and eligible work experience for some occupations under the hard to fill skills pilot only. Now, as you can see here in the table, that these are the related work experience occupations for select HFS eligible NOCs. Now, to be eligible to claim related work experience for an HFS eligible NOC, you must have at least 1 year of full-time work experience in the past 3 years in a single related occupation. Work experience in multiple related occupations will not be acceptable to meet 1 year of full-time work experience criteria. Moreover, all the other program criteria do apply. Also, please note that when applying for a work permit with related experience, workers must prove that they have the knowledge, satisfactory experience, and/or physical ability to do the job. In cases where a worker is applying for a work permit with experience in an occupation different from the stated NOC, they need to provide as much evidence as possible that they have performed the duties. For example, evidence can be a letter from the former employer. Now, there's another thing to know. The nominations issued for NOC 73300, which is transport truck drivers, will be conditional until proof is provided to the SINP that you have received the required licensing and endorsement from the Saskatchewan Government Insurance to maintain your nomination. The type of vehicle you drive on the job will determine the license and endorsements you will need. Moreover, you must provide proof of completion of mandatory entry-level training and that you hold a valid Class 1A license issued by SGI to drive power units and semi-trucks and trucks with trailers or vehicles in tow where the gross vehicle weight of the towed units exceeds 4,600 kilograms. A quick note here that this pilot is not available to employers hiring home support workers, caregivers, and related occupations under NOC 44101 who reside in the client's residence or their place of work. Employers seeking workers to reside in the client's residence or their place of work must utilize Canada's caregiver programs for recruitment. Now, there's one more thing that you should know, that the federal government sets the amount of nominations the SINP make every year. No application is guaranteed to be nominated. Another thing is that your employer must meet requirements to support your application and immigration through this pilot. So now let's look at the employer's requirements. It's important for you to know what kind of requirements your employer is required to meet for you. Employers can utilize the hard to fill skills pilot to recruit workers in select, intermediate, and low-skilled occupations if they demonstrate that they have attempted to find workers through domestic recruitment activities prior to hiring foreign nationals and are prepared to support the settlement of their employee as a permanent resident of Saskatchewan and the employment offer meets the SINP requirements. Now let's look at the recruitment efforts that your employer is required to make. Prior to submitting the job approval form to the SINP government, the employer must advertise each position being recruited on Sask Jobs. Now Sask Jobs is a job portal that they use for a minimum of 4 consecutive weeks. So the job over there has to be advertised or posted for 4 consecutive weeks at least in the 3 months prior to submitting the job approval form. Now, this required job advertisement information includes company operating name, business address, title of the position, job duties, skills requirements, terms of employment, language of work, benefits package offered, location or locations of work, contact information including telephone number, cell phone number, email address, fax number, or mailing address, and it is strongly recommended that the wage is also included. Along with making recruitment efforts, your employer will also be required to create a nice settlement plan for you. So if the worker they hired meets SINP criteria, they will be approved and nominated, which means that they can apply for a work permit now. Once the new employee arrives and starts working, the employer must fulfill program settlement requirements, including assigning a culturally sensitive on-the-job mentor to the employee and some more requirements as well. So before we move on and learn about how to apply in this program, let's first talk about that who cannot apply to this program. Okay, so there are certain people who cannot apply or who are not eligible to apply to this program. Okay, so let's get started on that. The very first is refugee claimants in Canada who are claiming refugee status from the government of Canada. These are the people who cannot utilize this pilot or cannot apply in this pilot, cannot submit their application in this pilot. Now, you may not be eligible if you did not provide the required documents at the time of submitting your application, you were not able to provide that you plan and intend to live and work in Saskatchewan, and you or your representative have intentionally misrepresented yourselves in the application. Okay, the misrepresentation is actually very bad. So please, guys, if you're doing your application yourself, or if you are hiring a licensed agent or non-licensed, whoever it is that you want to hire, a lawyer or anyone, please make sure that all the documents are just perfect so that you are not even directly or indirectly misrepresenting yourself. Now, misrepresentation can occur if you intentionally or unintentionally submit any fake or wrong documents, or perhaps claim fake or wrong experience, or anything that just doesn't belong to you, or something that you are trying to make up. Even if you did something intentionally or unintentionally, you can get up to 5-year ban, okay, just for doing this, just for the misrepresenting yourself. So please take this very seriously, and please make sure that only if you're eligible, if you meet every single requirement, then only apply for this or any other program in Canada. Now, if you wish to determine your eligibility, feel free to contact us. You can book an appointment with me. We will do the case assessment. If you wish to speak with me over the video call, we also have that thing available. It's called booking a consultation. You can use the link given in the description box. Book a consultation with me. We will go through an entire case, and that way we will find out what are the eligibility requirements for you that you can meet, and then you can become eligible for Canadian permanent residence. Maybe not this, then any other program as well. Okay, but it's important for you to know that whether you're actually eligible for any of the programs or not. Okay, guys, moving forward, let's see how to apply. So to apply to this pilot, you need a job offer, the very first thing. So let's get started on that. I'm going to show you live how you can find a job offer. And to start your search, you need to start with Sask Jobs. Okay guys, so here we are, and I hope you're able to see my computer screen on your screen right now. So this is the portal that you should be looking for, Sask Jobs. If you remember, we did talk about this portal in the employer requirements. I say that the employers are required to post using this portal. Not only for this program, you will be able to see a variety of jobs on this portal. So it's not specific just for this portal. This is just the job portal by the government. So you will be able to see just the variety, but make sure that you're targeting the job offers. If specifically you're going for the hard-to-fill skills pilot, you're targeting the job offers that are eligible in the pilot, okay? So let me show you how you can navigate this portal. If you wish to read all this information over here, you can go ahead and read that. Otherwise, let's jump directly over here. Use career services. You can read all the information. You can go through that YouTube video if you wish to. Otherwise, scroll down and just go over here for a job search, or you can simply go over here, and then this will direct you to the main website. This is the website that you should be looking for to be able to apply for jobs. Okay, so you can definitely utilize this links over here. You can also view jobs by occupation, by management. I'm actually recording this thing second time. I already did it first, but I made a small mistake, so I had to delete. So you will be able to see all this pink color over here because I've already clicked that before in my first recording, but I had to delete that recording for some reason. So okay, again, you can explore a variety of jobs over here, okay, everywhere, but make sure if you're targeting a particular pilot, like currently we're targeting a hard-to-fill skills pilot, so you only look for the job offers that are eligible. But you know what, I would personally recommend if you're able to find any job and that aligns with any of the other pilot programs, or I would say any of the PNB programs, then go ahead and get that, because if the employer is willing to support you and support your application, then why not? You can definitely immigrate through any of the other programs if not hard-to-fill skills pilot. Okay, so do utilize this portal, scroll down and definitely try to find a nice occupation job offer, but make sure again everything has to match all the requirements of the pilot, especially regarding the job offer and the work experience must meet. Okay, awesome, perfect. So now that we have already seen how you can apply for a job, now assuming that you have already received a job offer, now the second step is that your employer will need to provide you with a job approval letter from the SINP. So, and for that, they can follow certain guidelines which are given on the official website. Again, I'll link that down in the description box so that you can go ahead and read that. So now, if you guys have everything ready, all the required documents for the program, so the third step would be complete, scan, and submit all the required documents. Guys, please note that applications that are submitted with missing documents or not translated will be returned. If your application is returned, you will be sent a letter by the government and asked to reapply. To simplify the application process, please ensure that you have obtained the required documents and have the information in hand. Okay, applications submitted without the required documents will be closed and returned to you. A closed application cannot be reopened or be considered for second review. If your application is closed, then you'll have to start the application process again if you choose to reapply. Now this brings me to required documents checklist. First thing is that you must provide all forms and documents to prove that you're eligible for the SINP nomination at the time that you submit your application. Okay, now we will also need these documents to prove your identity, your work experience requirements, academic credentials, and language ability. Okay, the SINP may also ask for more documents that are not listed on their official website. Also, please note that all documents must be easy to read copies of the original documents. If it is not in English or French, you must submit a copy of the original document, a copy of the English or French translation of the document, a copy of an affidavit from the translator describing the translation ability. Now, about the translator. Translators must be certified by a regulatory body as required by the IRCC. Okay, translators must not be a family member, a spouse, or anyone who works for you or is preparing your application. Also, be sure that the translations meet all federal requirements when applying for permanent residency. Now let's talk about the forms. You must fill out and attach these forms, the one that you're able to see on your screen right now. Now I'll link the official website down in the description box, so make sure that you go there and you'll be able to see all the forms over there and you can access all these forms there. Okay, now I'm not sure when you guys will be watching this video. It could be today, it could be after a few months or a few years. So make sure for the latest information, you always check out the official website of the government of Saskatchewan, okay? Because requirements and all these things are required, like they're subject to change at any time. So please make sure in order to get the latest information, you do check out the government's website always. Moving on to the required documents. Let's start with job offer requirements. A full-time permanent valid job offer from a Saskatchewan employer in a valid selected occupation in this pilot is required. Your job offer must be approved by the SINP, means the government of Saskatchewan, before you apply. Your employer must register online to have the job assessed that you're applying for. Job approval letter that includes your position, name, and NOC code is also required. All positions must offer wages and working conditions that match Canadian standards in that occupation and meet SINP requirements. Now, the letter of offer that you get must have these components in it. So it should be addressed to the principal applicant, means you, State the job title, duties and responsibilities, wage, benefits, and company contact information. List the location of your job in Saskatchewan. Be issued on the company's letterhead and be signed by the employer. Now let's look at the language credentials. To meet the language requirement, you must prove language test results from a designated testing agency, have English or French language ability of CLB level 4 or higher to become eligible for this pilot. Now here are the acceptable tests and equivalents to CLB level 4. I hope you're able to see this on your screen right now. Now let's take a look at the education or training credentials. You must submit documents to verify you have a secondary high school or high school diploma or education at higher level. Again, the minimum requirement is secondary school or high school, but if you have a higher education like diploma or degree, make sure you do submit that, okay? You're required to submit your secondary high school diploma or an education or trade certificate or a degree post-secondary diploma, whatever it is that you have, okay? And preferably do have an ECA. ECA can actually help the Canadian employers and the government verify that your educational credentials are legitimate and they're verified by an agency like Zeste or any of the other available agencies. So make sure that you do have an ECA. Include copies of your official transcripts. This should show the schools attended and courses taken. If applicable, include documentation if you have a professional designation related to intended occupation. Now let's look at the work experience credentials, okay? Have at least 1 year of full-time work experience in the past 3 years in your intended occupation or 6 months of full-time work experience in the job with the employer that has provided you the job approval letter. Okay, again, these are the two different requirements and you're required to meet at least one of these. Okay, the work experience does not need to be consecutive work experience in either case. Alright, work experience that was conducted remotely is not eligible to be claimed as in Saskatchewan work experience. In order to prove, you must submit letters of reference from past employers to prove your work experience for each job included. Documents must include letters of reference from a supervisor or HR human resources officer printed on company letterhead. Each letter should indicate the following: your job, position, date of employment, your main duties, the contact information of your supervisor or manager. Each letter of reference for each job position must be accompanied by one additional government-issued document showing proof of employment. Acceptable government-issued documents are pension fund, provident funds, medical insurance, or social security record, work permits, work visas, or labor cards for any foreign work experience, if that was required for your work experience. Employment contracts, if you worked for a government agency or the employment contracts are issued by the government. Taxation forms or a taxation exempt, tax-free form, or income tax return acknowledgement, ITR form. Any other government-issued documentation that may assist in verifying your work experience. Now, in case if you're unable to provide government-issued proof of employment because no such documents are available from the country where the work experience was obtained, then please contact the Saskatchewan government. Here is their email, or you can also use this phone number over here for more information and to know what additional documents you'll need to submit with your application. Again, for the latest information, please check out the government website. I'll link it down in the description box. Okay, so please check out for the new information. Chances are that all this information may change in the future. So it's especially the contact information and all that. Make sure that you always stay updated. Now let's quickly talk about self-employment work experience. You may only claim self-employment as work experience if you're applying in a managerial NOC unless the occupation that you're applying in requires certification from a Saskatchewan licensing body. Applicants claiming work experience while self-employed must submit the following documents for each position: business license and self-employment tax documents, proof of income, and letters of reference from clients. To prove work experience as a business owner, you must provide articles of incorporation or other evidence of business ownership, evidence of self-employment income, and documentation from third-party individuals indicating the service provided along with the payment details. Please note that self-declared main duties or affidavits are not acceptable proof of self-employment work experience. Temporary work permit if applicable. If you're currently working in Saskatchewan, you must submit a copy of a current valid temporary work permit issued by the federal government, means the IRCC. Any valid work permit issued by IRCC, either open or closed, will be accepted, including Canada-Ukraine authorization for emergency travel visas as well. Again, just a quick reminder, refugee claimants in Canada who are claiming refugee status from the Government of Canada are not eligible to apply. If IRCC has issued an open work permit to you and your spouse was the principal applicant in the work permit application, the SINP may request additional documentation. SINP staff will request proof that you and your spouse reside in Saskatchewan. Proof of residency may be required if applicable. So if you are claiming work experience from inside Saskatchewan, you must submit proof of residency with your application, which could be Saskatchewan Health Card, Saskatchewan Driver's License, or the other ID issued by SGI. The SINP may also ask for more information or documents as needed. Please note that applicants located outside Saskatchewan whose work experience was conducted remotely are not eligible to claim this work experience. Credentials may be required if applicable, so nominations issued for NOC 73300, which is transport truck drivers, will be conditional. Okay, as I said before, that it will be conditional until proof is provided to the SINP that you have received the required licensing and endorsements from the Saskatchewan Government Insurance SGI to maintain your nomination. The type of vehicle you drive on the job will determine the license and endorsements that you will need. You must provide proof of completion of mandatory entry-level training, also known as MELT, and that you hold a valid Class 1A license issued by SGI to drive power units and semi-trucks and trucks with trailers or vehicles in tow where the gross vehicle weight of the towed units exceed 4,600 kilograms. A valid Class 2A license issued by SGI will be required for all other types of transport trucks. Now, if your job is a designated trade in Saskatchewan, you can access apprenticeship training for your field. To see the list of designated trades, please visit the Saskatchewan Apprenticeship and Trade Certification Commission website. I'll link that down in the description box for you below. Additional information for international workers can also be found in the description box at SATCC's FAQs for international applicants. Now let's look at the identity and civil status documents. You need to provide the following documents to confirm your identity and civil status. The very first thing is birth certificates that list both parents for you, the principal or the main applicant, your spouse or your accompanying spouse or common law partner if applicable, each accompanying dependent child, and each non-accompanying dependent child born in Canada if applicable. If you are married or widowed, you must include a marriage certificate or a death certificate of your former spouse if applicable. Now, if you are in a common law relationship, you must include this form over here. And also prove at least 1 year of common law relationship. Proof may include statements from bank showing a joint account, a copy of your signed joint lease or mortgage, a copy of jointly owned property apart from your residence, a copy of bills made to both of you, a copy of life insurance naming the other partner as the beneficiary. If you or your spouse is divorced, you must include final documents for all divorces, custody and child support documents if your dependents are not accompanying you, if applicable. If you and your non-accompanying spouse are legally separated, you must include marriage certificate, notarized proof of legal separation, which would be country-specific, of course, and all applicable custody and child support documents if dependents are not accompanying you, if applicable. In case of adoption, adoption papers for dependent children are required who were adopted, if this is your case. Next and very obvious document is passport. Your passport must be valid from application through to permanent residence. You will need to include copies of pages in your passport that show the passport number, date of issue, expiry date, photo, name and place of birth, for you, the principal applicant, your accompanying spouse or common law partner if applicable, and or all dependent children accompanying to you to Canada if applicable. If you live in a country that is different from your nationality, please include a copy of your visa for that country as well. Once everything is ready, you can now apply here online through this portal. Creating an account and then logging into your account is very simple. Just simply follow the instructions as directed by the government. Again, all the important links regarding this program are given in the description box, so please go ahead and check them out. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon right there so that you get notified every single time I post a new video. If you wish to talk about your immigration case or if you wish to explore your immigration options, then feel free to contact us at www.saskatchewan.ca or simply click the link given in the description box of this video to book an appointment with me. See you guys next time. Take care.